my title at the Sheriff's Office is Director of Community Engagement, which for police department is a fairly new position. So you have the sheriff, undersheriff, 2 commanders, and 2 directors. The directors just happen to be civilian, and then the commanders are law enforcement background. So I'm pretty high up in the sheriff's office for a reason, and I point that out for a reason, because it talks about the commitment to this kind of work that we're going to talk about today from the sheriff's office. So I'll just share a real quick story of why we want to do this. There's 3 real reasons. One is to reduce recidivism amongst those coming back out of prison and out of the county jail. 2 is about building community within specific neighborhoods. And 3 is about building the relationship between the community and the sheriff's office. So just a quick story personally for me. The way that I remember being introduced to what a police officer is or was, with my dad, probably like 5, 6, 7 years old. And so at this time, there was no seatbelt laws or have your child in the car seat. So I just remember sitting in the front seat with my dad, thinking I'm, the big man. We're driving down the street, police sirens come on, we get pulled over to the side of the road, and even at a young age, I know what you do during a stop, right? Open up the glove box, get out the license and registration, and proof of insurance, and hand it to the officer. So of course, me wanting to be helpful, I immediately open up the glove box. Wow! Dad backhands me, right? Now, in my young mind, I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking I'm being helpful, and I just got smacked. And my dad says to me, "Be careful what you do, because they will shoot you." Now, looking back on it now, my older age, I see really what he was saying is like any officer. You walk up on a car, you got to be real safe and secure, and you don't know if someone's pulling something out of the glove box. But in my young mind, that was my introduction to police. Now, my dad was never into any criminal history or anything like that. He's a military guy, his brother's a police officer, so it wasn't anything necessarily about police officers. But that was my introduction. Now fast forward to the neighborhood I grew up in. The neighborhood I grew up in was, I'll just put it this way, there's no place in Washtenaw County, I tell the kids all the time this, there's no place in Washtenaw County that was anything like crime-wise where I grew up. And so you have this interesting dynamic where in certain neighborhoods where you need law enforcement and police protection because of the nature of the crime in the community, yet the relationship is one of no trust, no connection there. So you have this real interesting and complex relationship between the police and the community. So that's one reason of why we wanted to do something like this. The other is, where I grew up, if it didn't come to the block, I didn't know it existed. And what I mean by that, if it didn't come to my neighborhood, if I didn't know you or trust you, or it came from my street, my world was my block. And the kids around me, our world was the block. So if you weren't a teacher, the pastor who lived down the street, a family member, or a cousin, so to speak, and quite honestly, if you weren't the dope man rolling through the neighborhood, something that we looked up to, you had no credibility in the community. Once again, I was not a trouble kid. I didn't get in a lot of trouble or anything like that. But when the police came, what do you think we did? As James likes to say, fire drill. Everybody sprayed. So you're sitting on the porch with your family, kids are playing, police start to roll down. People who aren't committing crimes, aren't interested in committing crimes, but what do? Get up, walk in the house, or scatter somewhere else. So that really just frames why we were interested in doing this. And then the final example is, someone commits a crime and they go to jail and they come out, as many of you know, right? They're back in our community. And so the struggles that you all have, or NPRI has, in finding people jobs and housing, those are the realities of some of the places that we live in, right? So I live in West Willow. People are coming back to West Willow out of jail and out of prison all the time, and they are there. So they're our residents, our neighbors, family members. And the reality is, without proper housing, employment, what's going to happen? This cycle is going to perpetuate itself again. So where the sheriff's office has kind of come from is trying to get out of this cycle of insanity, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and hoping for a different outcome. So what we've tried to do is to put things in place where we can actually build community, build relationships, and use partnerships like this that has never even been done in the past. That's really the impetus behind this. So I'll let James explain and introduce himself and his history, and then what he's been doing in maybe the next 5 minutes or less to kind of give you an overview. 2.5 minutes to give you an overview.
Tell me this. I need somebody to tell us what community engagement entails.
So
what that is.
So community engagement overall for the sheriff's office is all about, like I just said, reaching out to communities. What James and the outreach team are doing is actually going out in neighborhoods. We've been doing basketball programs in certain neighborhoods. We actually put together a community plan with neighbors to help revitalize specific communities. It's those kinds of connections. The ripple effect of that is people come to James, people from the community, the knuckleheads of the community, the senior leaders in the community come to James, and there's relationships there. So you have young people coming to him saying, hey, I'm off into this game and I want to get out. How do I do it? And what we were talking about last night, I've been surprised at how fast that has happened. So we literally have people coming to James saying, hey, I've done this, I need some help. Or James, they're coming out of jail and James is connecting them to the dots because he's working down in our jail.
My name is James Whitfield. I'm a former inmate. My number is 302-038. I come from the West Willow community as well. A lot of my background is basically we were involved into gang type activity. We called it, to make it sound a little bit more sweet as an organization. Me and 24 other guys were hit with the indictment, the RICO Act, in 1997. We all ranged from 3 years to 12 years, and I've done 12 years. So I got out and basically just wanted to be a solution to the problem I created. So I began to start, I believe I just done the one event that I met Derrick, done a little dance contest, a little sneaky leg thing. It turned out beautiful. And I wanted to use my influence in the community to be able to develop certain relationships, to link them up with resources, because an individual gets out of jail, they believe that all hope is gone. Since I've been out of jail, or out of prison, that I've had more, that I basically had jobs thrown at me, and a lot of individuals are not aware of certain jobs, certain opportunities that's out there. So what I do is that I just basically use my influence within the community, which we call street credibility, by them knowing me. And, individuals come with many ranges of issues, whether it's dealing with their family, whether they're trying to get up out of the gang life, whether they're trying to get up out of, just committing crimes. And, I try and consult with Derrick, and we sit back and we try and develop some type of plan or some type of action plan that would be best suited for those individuals. And like you said, that it does have the actual snowball effect. We've done free haircuts for summer kickoff. We rally in the streets, that we do, just a whole range of things based on the individual's issue. I have individuals come to me constantly, call me 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm like Johnny on the spot, because I understand, where I come from and what I was off into. Basically, it's a mental illness, and if an individual's not able to change his perception, then his reality won't stay the same. But just in a nutshell, we just trying to just connect. A lot of my peers don't understand exactly what I'm doing, but as I tell Derrick all the time, that they respect the results. Because the same individuals, by me working in the jail as well as on the streets, that these individuals come to me and may have some type of apprehension about what I'm doing. Because they may say, well, man, that you with the police now, but not necessarily with the police, that I tell them that I work for them.
Mr. Whitfield, tell us this. How long have you been doing this, and also how long are you off parole? Were you ever on parole, or did you max out?
I wasn't on state parole. I'm on supervision.
You were what?
I'm on federal supervision.
Federal. Okay.
So,
are you still on federal supervision?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, I'm in compliance with all the rules and regulations and whatnot. I've been doing this, I've been out for 2 years plus. Ever since I've been out, basically. And, these success stories are coming, rapidly.